It's a great day to be a saint. Got our paws on some sophisticated technology. Practiced a little saint-like behavior. We came and went the distance toward discovery. Preparing to join the ranks of the saints before us. We're a school with heart, in pursuit of greater inspiration that connects us forever.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Siena College, Hickey Field, for the National Small College Rugby Organization NSCRO Championships, live on the NSCRO YouTube channel and the Next Level Rugby YouTube channel. And I'm Matt McCarthy with two-time USA Rugby Coach of the Year and Collegiate All-American Sevens coach Steve Lewis and Brett Anker, our on-field correspondent. And we are about set to kick off in our first match. And it's going to be the Christendom Crusaders and the Endicott Gulls. The Gulls are in the blue and, what would you call that, Steve? Purple stripes?
Yeah, mauve, magenta.
Mauve, magenta, and the white are the Christendom Gulls out of Front Royal, Virginia. The Gulls, of course, out of Massachusetts. And, Steve, can you tell us who our referee is?
Referee tonight, very experienced referee, Leah Berard. Done multiple women's internationals over the years, and she was actually a referee in the now defunct Pro Rugby. She was one of the 5 professional referees then.
All right. We are underway. We're sorting through some audio issues, but we'll be back with Steve in just a second. In the meantime, the Gulls are on their front foot with the ball after stealing it off the kickoff. It was a high tackle. I beg your pardon. And our first penalty of the game. Here's the kick into touch by Finn Cohane. And we'll have our first line out. Here's Max Young wearing number 22, doubling up on his hooker number just for good measure with the throw-in. And the Gulls controlling. Those of you that follow the New England Free Jacks of Major League Rugby, Jackson Thebes is an Endicott Gull alum and in the building. And there's a whistle. And it's a knock-on and awarded to the Crusaders. We've had a lot of rain in the capital region of Albany, but it's held off right now, and we have a little bit of wind, but really, really excellent conditions for rugby. It's field turf, so we're not playing in a bunch of puddles or mud. So the weather is now not a factor in this match. There's the put-in by Vinny Duig. And our first kick from the Crusaders is into touch. Looked like that was Tom Ordino. Interesting story about Tom is he's just flew in from Rome for the match, and he's got to fly back out after for the match. Here's a line out for Endicott. And it's stolen by the Crusaders. Will Arnold takes it to turf. Duhigg. And there's a big crashing run.
Release the green. Stay out. Stay out.
Handled nicely on a bad pass. Taken by Patrick Newton. He has got it into the hands of Nick Kudabak. And he just came up short. Strong defensive play late in that series by the Gulls. And they have turned it over on a knock-on. Dodging a bullet for sure. If you're just joining us, we are at the Hickey Field complex, Siena College, just outside Albany, for this NSCRO Championship weekend. You can watch it on NSCRO on their YouTube channel or on the Next Level Rugby YouTube channel. But it's live streamed all weekend, so check it out. Here's our scrum down. And the put in by Brian Palmatier. Big crash taken. And it looks like it's turned over by the Crusaders. Big play there defensively. And in for the try. So, Steve, the turnover translates into a try by the 8-man Joe Kelly.
Yep, well, that phase of play started with an Endicott scrum, 5 meters out, and they failed to exit their own half. A couple of handling errors under their own shadow of their own posts. That's what coughed up possession.
And just like that, we have a score. Here you can see it again. In there mixing it up is Jerome Norton, and he gets it out, and it is indeed Joe Kelly, the St. Gregory Academy boarding school graduate. There's a lot of these guys on this roster. Lining up for the conversion will be Vinny Duhigg. Steve, I know you're not shy about saying kickers should make these, but this is a college match.
It's a college match. A little bit windy out there. So he's going left to right. This one's about either 10, 9, 8, 7.
And I believe the kick was no good. So it's 5-0 in favor of what on the scoreboard says the guests out of Front Royal, Virginia, the Christendom Crusaders. And with the restart, we Finn Cohane. Finn Cohane is the grad student, MBA in business, after an undergrad degree in finance. Oh, a big hit by number 5, Drew McAvee, on the restart, but it is retained by the Crusaders. Taken to turf is John Briggs. There's Tom Odino, who's had a big day so far. Busy day. And a whistle. And a penalty to the Crusaders. Eschewing the quick tap and going for touch. Wise play, Steve. And the kick is up. And it is into touch. It is a bit windy. You can see the flags over the scoreboard blowing in different directions at different times. So it's a bit of a swirling wind down on the pitch. There's a good shot of the NSCRO banner being blown around. And of a referee who could use a couple of laps around the track. But who should I shouldn't talk, right? Okay, there's a big run into traffic. Been pretty evenly matched so far, but there's a nice pass from Odino. The Crusaders with some phases. Endicott's defense is a little bit bunched up. If the Crusaders can get it wide, then it's a turnover. Nicely done. A little no-look pass, and it's dropped. It's a knock-on. Maybe a little bit too much, a little eager to make a big play happen early. And there's a knock and a quick tap by Odino. He's wrestled to the ground. All right, we are back. The Crusaders on the charge. There's Duhigg. And it's stolen by the Gulls. Nicely done by James Carew. The Gulls trying to get some offense, get back on the board. A little indecision on the part of Finn Cohane, the number 10. But it's maintained. And now a big bruising hit from Owen Kennedy out of Cooperstown, New York, to steal the ball for the Crusaders.
Green, get out.
Big hit by Jeff Page from the Gulls in return. Audino gets it to Tim Mara. The open side. And take it to turf.
Yeah, Endicott defense holding up here. Line speed's a little bit ragged, but they're making the tackles.
Is that his feet? Better to him?
All right. And it's a penalty to the Gulls, and there's some rattling in these stands, so it could be that the scoreboard is right in saying they are the home team out of Massachusetts. And going for the corner. Gotta like that early. Finn Cohane. Started his rugby career at the University of Indiana and then transferred over to Endicott. With the throw-in, Max Young. He made that transition from track. He was injured from track and then came out to play rugby, and they put him at wing, and now he's at hooker. Go figure. Ball bounces around, a little sloppy, but maintained by the Gulls. Little no-look pass. There's Garrett Campion. Big run, but met sharply in defense. Finn Cohane. Brian Palmatier out of Needham, Mass. Gets the ball out. And there's a whistle. And it's going to be a scrum to the Crusaders on the Endicott knock-on. 5-0 in favor of the Christendom Crusaders out of Front Royal, Virginia. Over the Endicott Gulls right now. We're about 11 minutes gone by in this opening match of our NSCRO Championships here at Siena College, just outside Albany. Matt McCarthy, Steve Lewis, and Brett Anker bringing you the action on Next Level Rugby.
Yeah, and so referee Leah Berard there just holding up play. It looks like maybe have a blood issue. Someone needs some quick attention. Berard, obviously a very experienced referee, refereed Women's International Rugby. She was actually one of the 5 referees in the now defunct Pro Rugby, the men's professional league, a couple of years back. So certainly very experienced, and actually a real treat for these players to have someone of that quality officiating.
Steve, you're familiar with the Pro Rugby setup as you were the director of rugby.
Indeed I was. So yes, I hired her.
And then she must be a good referee if you hired her.
Indeed, indeed. So the game settled down a little bit, that early score for Christendom. And Endicott getting a little bit on top here territorially, certainly playing in the Christendom half, but they're not stringing together enough phases to really put any sustained pressure on. Too many handling errors.
All right, here's the scrum down. Duig. Audino. Big run by Audino, who rolls and presents. Driving forward, Tim Mara, who is going into the Marines, ladies and gentlemen. So we appreciate his service to his country. I found that out when I asked him, Steve, what he was going to do after college, if he was going to play any rugby. And he looked at me and says, well, I'm going into the Marines.
So is he one of these philosophy majors?
I believe he is a poli-sci major.
It seems this team has only two things they study, political science or philosophy, so that would make more sense going into Marines.
Maybe we'll see Senator Mara someday. All right, here's the put in by Brian Palmatier, trying to confuse us, wearing number 22. He's not a sub. That was the jersey that fit him. Here's a big crashing run by Matt Gashgilder out of Flathead High School in Kalispell, Montana. We've got a Montana connection here as well. There's more than a few players on the goals from Montana. I think it's Jackson Thebes' influence. But as we get back to action.
There's a good reason for that, because the coach is a Montana native, went to University of Colorado, played most of his club rugby Washington and Maryland. That's Dave Kenkel. So that would make sense recruiting Montana natives.
There's that synergy that we always talk about between Montana and Endicott. All right, here's the goals, trying to get in. There's an opening, closed quickly. Brian Palmatier driven back. The goals and a great camera angle bringing you right into the action. Is it a try? And it is. Steve, they persevered and got it home. It looks like number 8, Matt Gashgilder, is the one that put it home.
Yeah, so it was their scrum, number 8 pick, and then a series of pick and goes around the fringes, and eventually getting over the try line, which is the yellow line there. You can see in front of the post, the yellow line is the try line. And the equalizing try, punched in by Endicott. So after 15 minutes, we're all even.
Yeah, and just so you know, Steve, you're wise to point out the lines. The black line is the touch line.
Correct.
I only know that because Steve pointed it out. All right, there's an adjustment on the posts by an civil engineering student. And the flags go up, and the conversion is good. So just like that, the Endicott Gulls take a 7-5 lead over the Christendom Crusaders out of Front Royal, Virginia. And we'll have the restart. It looks like it's going to be the man that flew in from Rome for the match because he's over there studying abroad, Steve, and that's Tommy Odino. All right, there is number 10, Finn Cohane, taking the ball, being picked up, and an attempted choke tackle, but he gets to ground. Referee calls it a tackle. Ball is out. Little K9, little kick from Palmatier, handled by Duhigg, who gets it to Odino, who seems to have the ball every time it's in White's hands. There's a little pass on the outside. That looks like it was Casey Mulrow, who started playing rugby because the fullback, Jagger Nettie, asked him to. Here's Odino.
Yeah, he's certainly the linchpin of this Christendom side so far. Everything that he prompts seems to work well. The man pulling the strings.
You can hear the fans screaming, nice hit, Steve. Oh, there's a big run and a crushing run, but the tackle is made. That was number 12, Patrick Newton. Rico Ione is his favorite player. Josh Farber collecting the ball, but it's going back to the original place, the original infraction, Steve.
Yes, indeed. And, this is a national championship semifinal, right? So these guys are fired up. There's no lack of physicality here. Good, strong efforts, good, strong tackles. And these guys are getting right in amongst it. It's good to see.
Yeah, anybody that wants to knock field turf didn't drive up here in a biblical monsoon, right?
It was not. This is delightful. The fact, A, we're playing in this, B, there's no rain as of yet. We can actually see some blue sky here in the distance. It did not look that way driving up from New York, as we can both attest. And so it's good to have dry conditions, certainly for a game of this magnitude. Perhaps
the staff at Christendom had said a few kind words to the people upstairs to ensure that we had this weather for rugby, Steve. And there's the lineout, taken by the big number 8, Joe Kelly. Poli-Sci senior.
Male students, it seems most of whom seem to play rugby. On the coaching front, though, they've got a couple of surprises there. No, not surprises, but the coach, Jim Conrad, well known, and even better known is Tony Flay, an old teammate of mine, ex-Eagle, hooker, Kiwi, and a man with Canterbury Crusaders connection.
Well, he just checks all the boxes.
He does indeed. He's also a tree surgeon, if that's the word for it. Cuts down, lops off trees.
So, and you're going out on a limb with that, aren't you?
Ooh.
Anyway, okay, there's a kick. One hopper to Audino. He's got some room. Stays on his feet, gets the pass off.
Away now, Green.
Oh, big run by John Briggs, but he is met sharply by the Gulls attack on defense. Quick line speed from the Gulls. Makes Audino to lose the ball, and it's a turnover. Looks like Drew McAvee. There's our try scorer, Matt Gashgilder, and he gets it out. That's Josh Farber into the open, but there's a whistle.
Yep, assistant referee pulled it back. Foot in touch. Looked a promising run from the left winger there. Right in front of us.
And Steve, as we're watching the replay, you hear the fans letting the ref know that they thought that was awful.
Indeed. Let's have a second look.
There you go. And here is the throw in by Will Arnold. I asked him why he started playing hooker. He says, I enjoy set pieces. And he just had one. A successful one at that. There's number 4, Owen Kennedy, another freshman, and he is a large man.
He is indeed 6'9", 260, and they're not using him in the line-out because they're using him to take the ball up after the line-out.
Yeah, and he's a freshman, and he's out of Cooperstown, New York. Meanwhile, his teammates ramble down. Here's Duhigg, Audino, Tim Mara, the Marine, to be. Audino, some big runs from Patrick Newton. He is a tough man to bring down. Junior poli-sci major. There's Jerome Norton out of Louisville, number 11, getting the ball to Audino. There's a hop. You know, Audino's had to field a couple of those ground ball passes, and he's done it well. Duhigg driven back. Number 13, John Jakubusen getting involved. Going short side. A little bit of action. Here's Kevin Kuplak. So I want to apologize. I have been looking at Nick Kudeback and Thomas Audino from afar, and they look pretty similar with the hair.
With this,
Here's the knock replay, Steve. And you can see Duhigg, and there it is.
yep, just scrum half. That's your bread and butter. He said a promising game so far, but probably his first error of the night. But yes, it was very confusing there. 10 and 15 for Christendom, Kudeback and Audino, both very similar hairstyle. And you would think it was a man possessed out there, but it's actually two of them playing. That's why they look so good.
Yeah. All right, there is a scrum and a whistle. I think we'll have it again. A little instruction. So we're noticing in the bios for these players there's a lot of poli-sci, a lot of philosophy majors on the part of Christendom. Then you got some business guys, international studies with Endicott. Different styles on the pitch as well that we're seeing so far.
Different playing philosophies.
If you will.
If you will. And I liked some of the pre-game chat you were having with some of the players, asking them their favorite philosopher.
Yes.
And what was the outcome?
Well, you know, Kevin Kuplak, whose older brother started playing at Christendom, and that's why he's playing, said his favorite philosopher was Aristotle, hands down. Hands down.
Emphatic.
Yeah,
we had an Aristotle. In fact, that seems to be the favorite philosopher in those parts.
You know, then you had some others. You had
Aristotle. Thomas Aquinas.
Jacob Cassidy said Thomas Aquinas.
Anyway, back to the rugby. So here we have a scrum. Last one looked a bit ominous for Endicott. They went back at a rate of knots, but they've got the put in again. Let's see if they can shore it up a little bit, provide some safer ball, and exit this dangerous area they're in.
There's the tap and the put in by Brian Palmatier. Brian spelled B-R-Y-A-N, and he said to me, but it's pronounced the same. I guess he's heard me call matches before. We'll have another scrum down as they reset here at Hickey Field on the Siena College campus for the National Small College Rugby Organization Championships. NSCRO. There's a nice little kick. Finds a spot. Oh, fielded under pressure nicely. I think that was Jerome Norton. And it backfired on Cohane. Here's Ordino. And it goes into touch.
Yeah, well, I would have to say, I mean, we saw that sort of audacious exit play in a Rooney San Diego game, but it was Joe Peterson pulling it off, catching his own kick. So that was a little audacious there, trying to chip out of from your own try line, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, and that was scurrying after it was Will Arnold, the hooker, out on the wing. So you could tell these players have the mobility at different positions to get outside. That was just the pass too far for him. Here's the line out. Stolen by the Crusaders. And there is Will Arnold. He's got it in the hands of their big man, Owen Kennedy. He is a bruiser and only a freshman. His hand engulfed me when I shook it. There's number 13, John Jackson. Duig. Smashing forward is Tim Mara. Duig again. This time he's got Jacobson. There's Kennedy. Takes at least two to take him down. And that opens up a little bit of breathing room for the backs. Here he is again, handling a pass that might have been meant for somebody else, but he just put the big paw up in the air and hauled it in. Oh, and that's unlucky. Cut it back. But the ball goes backwards and they maintain possession. Here's Mara again. Driven to the ground by the goal defense. That was number 8, Matt Gashgilder with the tackle. And there's a big burst into the open. It looks like Newton. Newton racing in. Does he have enough to get in himself? No, he's dragged to the turf. Following are a lot of white shirts. There's Duhigg. Ordino sidestepping. A little dummy pass to Will Arnold, to Isaac Belleville, I beg your pardon. There's John Briggs barreling forward. And it's picked up and stolen by the try scorer, Matt Gashgilder. Big tackle by Kodebeck. Little dummy. Nice little keep by Garrett Campion. The Gulls trying to maintain possession after a big steal, and it looks like they may have knocked it on, and they have, Steve.
Indeed they have. It's going to come back now. Well, we're still playing.
Playing the advantage. Oh, there's the big man. He is going in unscathed. That is Owen Kennedy out of Cooperstown. He may be a math major. He's undecided, but that all added up to a try, Steve.
Indeed it did. He's been looking threatening for a while, obviously. A big lump of a lad. He just had to brush off one tackle there, which he did. Pretty solid. Wasn't even a handoff required.
Wow.
Under the post.
Wow, he is a big boy. It's just like, you look at him here. He grabs it. Oh, I'm not going to get him. And he skips in like Rob Gronkowski. Big.
Yeah. A little unfortunate. Endicott had been defending well. What I noticed with Christendom had a lot of possession there for a spell, but their first receiver was either very deep or was always flat, never taking the ball at pace. And then, boom, as soon as they fix it, he comes onto the ball a little bit at pace. Through you go.
Duhigg ignores the tissue sticking out of his nose to part the uprights. and complete the try from Kennedy. So we have ourselves a pretty exciting match here as we update the scoreboard. And it looks like, was that a substitution, Steve?
Looking like it.
And there's the restart. Taken by number 16, John Messing, in for the Crusaders. There's a big run by John Briggs. His brother played. And Steve, he is an English literature and language major, John Briggs, the loose head.
That's an unusual combination.
It is. And Dostoevsky is his favorite author.
Well, amongst other literary giants. That's a great break. Great break right up the middle.
And that is Nick Kudeback, not to be confused with Tom Aquino. Under the post for a long, exciting try, Steve.
Indeed,
Wow.
Indeed. Sometimes it's, phase play, teamwork. That was individual play. Slipped one tackle, cut in on the angle, and went 60, 65 yards. Here it is again. There it is. Beats one man, beats two men, straightens up. Boom. Diagonal run to the post.
And
Great
Steve,
stuff.
And Steve, the thing about that is he didn't exactly take it in stride. He had to take it up, not exactly a crisp pass to him on the fly, and he still made it.
Yep. Good footwork. Making two men miss. And then having the legs to finish it off.
Farber chasing the ginger-haired man from Waltham.
So that'll be interesting there. A couple of scores in quick succession. We'll see Christendom with their tails up now. And Endicott really have to dig deep. They have to circle the wagons. Maybe slow things down a little bit and get back into this. Because as it is, they're trailing 19-7.
Yeah, Duhigg split the uprights with no problem there. Beg your pardon, I had said that Josh Farber was from Waltham. He is not. So for the folks in Waltham that don't know Josh Farber, you're okay. All right. There's a smile on the face of the referee. She likes what she's going on.
That's right. Nothing chippy, nothing untoward. Good game of rugby. As we said before, pretty physical.
Finn Cohane.
And as we go in to just hit the half-hour mark.
With the restart. There's our newcomer, John Messing. Duhigg looking for a quick tap, possibly, and he'll pull it back up, and they'll make the decision here. Ladino going to kick it into touch for the line out. Even the wind looks like it's died down a little bit as we await Will Arnold's throw-in. Junior poli-sci major. Referee giving instruction, specifically telling him where to stand. And there's a nice take by Thomas Ward, wearing number 5. And bursting forward is Mara, and Owen Kennedy in support. Duhigg takes it out.
See, once again, Aradino, he's had a good game, but he's way too deep there, way too deep to pose a threat.
Particularly with maybe the little bit of wind that is influencing some of these passes. But they do survive and maintain the ball. Driving forward. There he is, Duhigg looking for, this time it's the previous try scorer, Kudeback, who cut back. There's a little open run, crashing forward. Referee saying get away. Duhigg getting the ball into the hands of his front row.
Yeah, just starting to see a bit of rhythm here from Christendom, starting to play well, string the phases together. In the coaches poll, they were number 1 coming into this matchup, with Endicott ranked number 4 in the Enscrow coaches poll. So playing to form, according to the coaches.
And as soon as we point out that they're getting rhythm, they lose 20 meters on bad passes.
Commentator's curse.
There's a nice little nifty run by Kevin Kolpak, the Aristotle disciple. And it's stolen. Nicely done by Zach Nadeau. And now the Gulls mounting some pressure. Bad pass, but taken by Endicott. And a whistle. And a penalty earned. And they're going to go for posts, Steve.
Not quite sure where the arm was pointing. I don't see any T coming out, so maybe they're...
I believe the referee pointed toward the posts. And then maybe not.
Don't see that too often. Just a quick tap and a dash up the guts.
Little indecisiveness, or was that a set play? Oh, just on a little bit out of the reach. Again, trying those ambitious long passes, maybe not the wisest choice with the bit of wind that we do have. And it's turned over, and Duhigg puts up a little box kick. Fielded nicely under some pressure by the Gulls. That was Hunter Rothy. Taking it out. And, just wanted to run without the ball was Jeff Page. And it's turned over. And some extracurricular activity going on and a whistle. Maybe trying to do too much on some of those passes, Steve.
Yep, if you're going to be adventurous, you have to be accurate, right? High risk, high reward. If you're moving the ball wide, you're going for the winning pass. You've got to make sure it sticks.
Indeed.
That's a pretty good kick. Puts them right up close, 5 yards out from the Endicott line. Great field position. They got a line out going in. What can they do with it? Previously, they've gone 4-man line out, and they've moved it to Kennedy at first receiver. Looks similar here, similar setup. Although why you wouldn't go for a rolling maul here, I'm not sure. It's a percentage play in modern rugby. Down it comes. Indeed they are, 4-man rolling maul. And it's worked for them.
That was Joe Kelly taking the line out, and Tim Mara, the future Marine, touching it down in the try zone. And you can hear some rumbling in the stands for the Crusaders now. So an interesting turn of events as we can see some of our happy fans here at Hickey Field. The Gulls with a choice whether they were going to go for points. They didn't. They went with a scrum rush.
It depends on the quality of the kicker they have, right? But they've turned down 3 times now, kickable penalties. It's 9 points. It keeps you in a game, keeps the scoreboard ticking over. And at some stage, they're coming to rue those decisions.
Here's a difficult angle for the conversion for Duhigg. As the Gulls collect themselves under the posts. And the kick is up, and it's just wide. A little bit long on that, Steve.
Yeah, he certainly took his time there. I mean, every kicker has their individual sort of setup and getting their mind in the right place and their rhythm, whatever their little nervous tics are. But, yeah, that was a long one, certainly.
As Van Halen plays throughout the stadium. the Gulls looking for a little jump in their game.
Indeed, 24-7 down now, just 2-3 minutes left to the half. They need to get something. They need to get something going here.
Kohane kicks it. John Messing bursts forward for the Crusaders. There's our man Kennedy. Just a freshman, Steve. That's a talent that could be cultivated.
Consider him spotted, Matthew.
Athletic and large. Would you liken him to maybe a taller version of a young Dan Lyle?
A little early for comparisons like that, I think.
I just wanted to get Dan's name mentioned in the broadcast. All right, here's Audino, the man that flew in from Rome for this match, studying abroad, looking for touch, and he does find it. That's a good kick, especially in these now windy again conditions. Shot of our fans from our Next Level Rugby production crew. If you're just joining us, Matt McCarthy, Steve Lewis, and Brett Anker calling this match the NSCRO National Small College Rugby Organization Championships. And there's Tim Mara, the future Marine, barreling forward, asking questions of the Endicott Gulls defense. The Crusaders are in white. The Seattle Seahawks, Seawolves colors in the Endicott Gulls. There's a bunch of people grabbing onto John Briggs to bring him down. Duig, Audino, back inside. Newton. There's a little dummy and a keep. The Crusaders looking for more. You know, Steve, I was talking to some of these players before the match. They actually, a handful of them, their favorite team is the Crusaders out of Canterbury in Super Rugby.
For Christendom.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the Tony Flay connection, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
also,
also,
he's going to brainwash them every practice session he's at, right? That's all he ever talks about.
well, the brainwashing didn't go all throughout their roster, Steve, because Jacob Cassidy, whose dad was from Scotland, became a rugby fan watching Scotland beat South Africa, and that's where he got his interest in rugby peaked.
There you go.
Gillespie.
One true faith amongst the heretics.
There you go. There you go. All right, there's the taken out of the back by a try scorer, Matt Gashgilder. Flathead High School in Kalispell, Montana is where he played his rugby. So did Hunter Routhey. In the meantime, the Gulls showing no quit. There's Zach Nadeau. Again, there's another run out of the back from Gashgilder. And he rolls, gets back up, presents. Hopping in at scrum half was Kohane. There's a tricky little run from Brian Palmatier. And now showing some life. You like to see this before the half. Being driven back. Jay Riley, who a friend of his told him to play at college and then stop playing after he got him hooked. That was caught on the fingertips, by the fingertips of Kohane to save the possession for the Gulls, and there's a whistle. It's going to be a scrum down turnover. Unfortunately for Endicott, Steve, that was a nice series they put together, some phases, some control, and turned it over, and you've got some yells from the stands about a high tackle. All right, as they set. We're on the referee's time now, as the scoreboard has us after 40 minutes. The official time, of course, set by the referee. Is Duig. Takes it. They're not looking to put the ball into touch. They're looking to get some more. And then it looks like a knock-on by the Crusaders in white and turned over. And a whistle that marks the half. So 24-7, Steve, in favor of the Christendom Crusaders over the Endicott Gulls.
Yes, this first semi-final of the Enscrow Champions Cup. So Crusaders firmly in control, 24-7 at the moment. And apart from a couple of flurries here and there from Endicott, they're in charge.
You've had some impressive runs by Tim Mara, the future Marine, and Owen Kennedy, and countered by the number 8 of Endicott, Matt Gashgilder. But we will be right back after this.
What does life insurance have to do with rugby? More than you might think. Creating a strategic game plan in rugby is key to winning. A sevens match can change in an instance, so you need to have a strong defense, solid offense, and the flexibility to move between the two. It's the same for finding success in your financial life, whatever that means to you. Setting up a game plan that can help you tackle life is crucial for financial success. A good coach has knowledge of the game, sets goals for the team, and creates a strategy, which can be critical to achieving success both on and off the pitch. And when it comes to your financial life, having a relationship with a good advisor can be just as valuable to help you plan and meet your goals. Having the confidence that you're strong enough to play every minute as hard as the first gives you the best possibility to succeed during a match. And being financially fit gives you the ability to tackle opportunities and live life with confidence, knowing that if the unexpected happens, you're protected. Rugby and life insurance. They're closer than you think. Find out more at Penn.
Hey, rugby fans, rugby is everywhere. The Giant is awakening, and Rugby Wrap-Up is there with the alarm clock. Rugby Wrap-Up, global rugby coverage, sometimes with a wink. Weekly studio shows, daily website content, breaking news, evolving stories, the biggest names in the game on camera, all over social media. Pundits from all corners of the planet, local, global, professional, amateur, female, and male. Find it all on rugbywrapup.com.
You know commitment. You know preparation. You know the game plan. You know exhilaration. You know rugby. And when you want to try something new, when the unexpected happens, when you want to move on up, and when you're ready to retire, we'll be there because we know life. The Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, your game plan for insuring life.
For the Enscrow Championships, we're at halftime, 24-7 in favor of the Christendom Crusaders in white over the Endicott Gulls. Steve, Lewis, what did you think so far of the first half?
I think the scoreline reflects the game. 24-7 is a fair reflection for Christendom's dominance.
Yes.
I think what we've seen is physicality from Christendom. We've seen fantastic performances thus far from Owen Kennedy, the lock forward, number 4, big unit of a kid. Then the Ponytail brothers, Odino and Cutterback, 10 and 15. They look the same. They're both pretty talented. They've shown some good stuff. Also, the scrum half, Duhigg, has been pretty nifty. He's been very busy. I like the look of him, too. On the Endicott side, they've had less possession. They pose less threat. Most of the good stuff for them has come through their number 8, Matt Gashgilder, who's worked pretty hard. A couple of flashes here and there from Palmateer. Looks like if he did get some ball and did get some space, he could be dangerous, but they haven't strung it together yet. So going into the second half, Endicott, they've got to get a foothold here. They've got to get some possession. They've got to get some territory, and they need a quick score after the half to get back in this thing.
you had some opportunities squandered by the Gulls. They have to be frustrated by that. And when they did squander them, it seemed they paid dearly.
Yeah, I mean, in modern game, right? So up to about 2-3 years ago, you would take your 3 points. We're not sure the quality of their kicker because we haven't really seen him yet. So maybe it's a lack of confidence in the kicker. But if not, then you need to put the ball in the corner and trust your line out. They didn't do that either. So I think you're right. I think they had opportunities. They didn't quite make the right decisions. So perhaps that's been picked up by Coach Dave Kenkel at the half and addressed. But as I said, they need something pretty quick to get back in this game and turn the tide.
Yeah, you've had some good play from the 9-10 combination for the Crusaders, who are in white. So Jim Conrad, Theo Smith, and Tony Flay, the coaching staff of the Christendom squad, have to be pretty satisfied right now.
Yeah, you know, championship semi-final, 24-7 and dominating, so they'll be fairly relaxed. They'll be looking for a quick score too. You know, once you've got your dagger in the heart of the enemy, it's the time to twist it.
Yeah, we've got a closer view of number 14, Kevin Kolpak of Christendom. I'm just loving his beard, his whole facial hair thing. Looks like he just came out of a Grizzly Adams movie.
It's either that or the Greek philosopher thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's our restart, and we are underway. And punched into the arms of his teammate by the loosehead prop, Jeff Page. Nicely done, and the Gulls on attack. They need a score. They need some positive momentum to get back into this. And possession is a key to that as the sun starts to set here in Siena. Matt McCarthy, Steve Lewis, and Brett Anker in this next level rugby production of the National Small College Rugby Organization Championships. And it's been a dandy so far. That was number 3, Chris Faust, playing scrum half. But back to normal is Brian Palmatier.
Right, so they've been stringing the phases together here. This is probably the best 7 or 8, but they haven't actually moved up the field. And there you see the box kick. Reasonable kick chase, so they have advanced up, but they haven't got the ball.
Jerome Norton taking it under fire, handling it well. And there's a little pass from Audino, cleaned up by number 6, Jacob Cassidy. And it's turned over. Yes, it is turned over. There's a nice play by James Carew, whose dad played club rugby in Providence. And that's how he got into rugby, which is nice to see. And as barreling forward is that man number 3, Chris Faust, out of Beverly, Massachusetts. And it looks like it might be turned over.
Yep, another knock on there just as Endicott started to move up the field.
Yeah, it looks
but signs of life, and that's good to see. Good to see in the first couple of minutes after the break. They're up for the challenge.
Yeah, and that looks like Spencer Vinton, wearing number 2, is in the match, getting a pat of reassurance from his fly half, number 10, Finn Cohane, after that knock-on. Just trying to ensure that he's okay. Give him a little vote of confidence from his teammate. We like to see that. I've liked the scrum half Duig, what he's done so far for Christendom. He's not the biggest guy on the planet, specifically when he stands next to Owen Kennedy.
Yeah, a little enlarged the odd couple there, but he, as we said before, he's been busy. That's what you want in the scrum half. He looks lively. Service has been pretty sharp.
And there he goes. He gets it out to the brothers with the hair that look like Dan Moore of the Toronto Arrows. And there he is again. Audino gets it to Mara. Mara, does he have the speed, the pace? Farber on defense. A nice little pass inside, and the number 8, Joe Kelly, takes it into the touch, into try zone, I beg your pardon, for the try. Passing the whitewash. That was some champagne rugby, as Dallin Stanford would say.
Yes, indeed. Here we go here. Ball comes from Duig. Audino once again makes a half break, actually makes a break, and then a well-timed pass. Endicott winger makes a lot of space to come back here, put pressure on, one more pass. And as you say, in for a score.
You know, that was an impressive run and look by Audino. He ran right through the arm tackles, shifted the ball into the other side, and got a nice pass off on the run.
Yeah, and Farber, the Endicott wing there, working hard to get back, but just ran out of numbers.
Hard to defend 1-on-3 when you're in that situation.
Indeed.
Here's Duig.
Doing his Johnny Wilkinson. His extended Johnny Wilkinson.
Nicely called.
Or his Farrell serial killer look.
And Duig is good with the conversion. His favorite player, Damian McKenzie, who unfortunately is injured, but he's a Chiefs player, right? So how does Tony Flay justify the Crusaders and the Chiefs influence that he's got going on?
So
conflict of interest?
Clearly the brainwashing is not complete.
There's still some individual thought from this philosophy, poli-sci
There is.
group of rugby players.
Some critical thinking.
I'd like to see that. Oh, there's a knock on, and it's going to be Gulls ball. So there's a little bit of a break for Endicott. They need a score quickly to get back in this. They need a couple of scores in a hurry. Little indecisiveness. Nice play by Zach Nadeau. Nadeau, I beg your pardon. He was a football player, came to rugby because a friend just talked him into it. You know, another crossover athlete gained by the sport of rugby. You have a lot of football players that transitioned into rugby at Endicott College, a.k.a. Jackson Thieves. And there's a big run on the fly, but taken nicely. Nice tackle by the Crusaders out of the back of the scrum. That's a try scorer from earlier, Matt Gashgilder, sophomore studying studio art.
Yeah, he's worked hard. Just needs a bit of support from his teammates. He's not been afraid to take it to them.
There's some crunching defense on the part of the Crusaders. Farber testing it on the outside. And taken up and into touch by Endicott. And they're having a little bit of a discussion. That's Brian Palmatier, the scrum half, talking to Farber about a potentially different path he might have chosen there. There's our scrum down. Nice shot. You can tell spring is approaching. We're getting some leaves on some of these trees. There it is, put in, and it's taken out of the back by Gashgilder. Charging forward, mustache first. Cohane. Looking for Jay Riley. He's got it in the arms of Garrett Campion. His friends call him Champion. There's Cohane, engulfed. Takes it to touch, knocks our cameraman down. Slithering forward. Here's Cohane looking for the try. Can he get it in? And he is in. Some tough defense by the Crusaders. Can't keep Finn Cohane out of the try zone. And the Gulls have struck back finally, Stephen.
Yes, indeed. That's the best face of play they put together. Once again, all starts with that guy, Gashgilder. Great break from him. Bumps the defender, does what he needs to do, links with his backs. They move it to the right. A couple of good passes, a couple of well-timed passes. And on this occasion, they do not squander it. Set the ruck. They go again, blindside, and at the second attempt, he gets the ball down.
Yeah, nice effort, nice effort to get that in there on the second effort, I should say, by Cohane. Takes a well-deserved sip, but right back to business. And the kick is no good. And that was number 20. And we don't have number 20 on our roster sheet. So I apologize to all of you out there. We don't know, some of these things just happen at last minute. Some players get injured, the changes in the roster. Anyway, it's all good. And there's the restart from the Crusaders. There's Gashgilder, a busy man. He gets walloped after he knocks the ball off his chest forward. Insult to injury, Steve.
Yes, that's the old Scotland-Australia penalty there. Ball comes to you, it's instinct just to catch it and go with it. But unfortunately, that is a penalty. Playing the ball in an offside position. however inadvertently.
Do you agree with that call?
Yes, absolutely. Leah Berard got it right. Spot on. Wasn't that hard to spot, mind you.
Does it have anything to do with you hiring her previously?
No, she's a good ref, and, 3 blind mice could have spotted that one.
3. To go along with the, yeah, okay. All right, here's the line out. Awarded to the Crusaders after they kick into touch. Will Arnold started playing rugby his freshman year with the throw-in, the junior political science major.
So look how deep Odino is there, number 10.
He's got confidence in his guys to get the ball out there, I guess. Or maybe he's just jet lagged from flying in from Rome. There is Odino. Gets it to Newton. Newton taken to the ground. Gulls playing tough defense.
See there, he's good there. There's good. Another half break. Still on the ball. Another well-timed pass.
Here's Kolplak. Taking it to turf.
Got numbers here.
Oh.
And they made the numbers count.
And Steve, I want you to take this one because it's Jacob Cassidy. He's one of yours that just put that one in. The Glasgow, what is it?
Glaswegian. His father was a Glaswegian.
Glaswegian.
Yes, indeed.
That's not somebody that makes glass.
Not at all. But yes, so ball went left there. Christenham had the extra man, made their passes count, drew the defender, drew the second defender. And as you say, the son of the Glaswegian flopped over the line. 5 points to his in the ledger for him. And Christenham really taking control of this thing now.
St. Thomas is smiling someplace because he is somebody that Mr. Cassidy enjoys as the philosophy of. As we await the conversion from Duig.
Certainly takes his time.
Had a full head of hair when he lined this one up. And he hooks it in, Steve. So we have to take it all back. The young man knows what he's doing.
Yeah, fair enough. That was an easy kick. So credit to him.
If you're going to take that much time, you better hit those, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, though. I mean, it's the referee's discretion. I mean, there comes a point later in the game, in a tight game. Those things can be considered time wasting. I'm not suggesting that here, but typically it is at the referee's discretion. In sevens, obviously, it's much tighter.
Say that again. I didn't hear you. Copy that. There's a nice charge, but into a solid defense. Oh, a nice little look back in by Odino. He's got his winger. That's John Messing coming in. John Messing's had an impact coming off the bench. Here's Duig. Duig to Mara. Mara goes to ground. Duig digs it out. Odino drops it, knocks it on. Let's see if there's an advantage being played by the Gulls. Seeing if they can get a spark here. There's Gashgilder, who's had a big game. Big match for Endicott. And it's a whistle, no advantage gained. It'll go back to the original knock-on, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen.
You're not mistaken.
Blind squirrel. You scrum down to Endicott in the Seattle Seawolves-esque kind of colors.
Backs are lined up left. Could we see Gashgilder pick it up and going right?
And instead it is the hooker, Palmatier, that takes it, and he turns it over. He was too fast for his support and lost control, lost possession, but it's going to be a penalty awarded for not releasing I almost said to Seattle, but to the Endicott Gulls. Cohane kicks it into touch. If you're just joining us here at Siena College, Hickey Field, it's the NSCRO National Championships. Our first match is this one. It is the Endicott Gulls in the green and blue versus the Christendon Crusaders. I beg your Christendon Crusaders in white. And they are ahead.
It's easy for you to say.
It was not easy for me to say. Christendon Crusaders in white, up 38-12. But the Gulls on attack and no quit in them as they charge forward down the field. Going short side. It's Jay Riley taken to the ground. Palmatier, Cohane dances around, gets it in the hands of James Carew. Freshman business management major. There's number 1, Jeff Page. A defensive end football crossover just this year. It's his 5th year. And a Homeland Security major. Cohane has his man Farber on the outside, who dots it down in the corner for a try. And the Gulls showing some life. Too little, too late, Steve.
Not necessarily. I think we've got 20 or so left. Again, Gash Gilder at the heart of everything that Endicott seemed to do. Takes the quick tap penalty. Moves the ball left.
A little fake crash by James Riley. That sucked in a defender. Let's see it again. There's Gash Gilder playing scrum half, getting it out to that big defensive end crossover. Jeff Page.
And the penalty here, quite correctly called, was coming in from the side. That Christendom defender tracking back, but not all the way back, which you have to do.
Yeah, no luck on the conversion. So 38-17 in favor of the Gulls. And we've got some more rambling, stamping fans here at NSCRO's championships at Hickey Field at Siena College. And it's a nice night. It was a torrential downpour all day long in this area, but we've got clear skies and no problems on the pitch. Audino gets it restarted. Possibly a high tackle on Hunter Rothy. There's number 22, Brian Palmatier out of Needham, Mass. Senior finance major. Faust gets it out to Jeff Page, who's now suddenly getting more carries. The big loose head prop. Utilizing those defensive end qualities. A little kick, an attempt, but turned over. Got to question that, Steve. Right into the hands of Audino.
Yeah, not a fan of chip kicks. I mean, when I coach, it's like you chip it, you better score under the post, or you're coming off.
Yeah, specifically when you're down by a lot of points and you're in your own end. There's Audino, and it looks like he may have tried to do one too many passes, and it's knocked on to the ground by Drew McAvee. McAvee's a large man as well, the number 5. Fairfield Prep guy, and his brothers played at Loyola in Maryland. So he's got some rugby in the family. And, you know, it's good to see that these guys are playing in high school as well. John Broker, our colleague, is a Fairfield Prep guy.
Indeed.
So is my cousin Doc Hines. Robert Hines, legend. As we await our put-in. I don't think any of them played for the Hartford Wanderers, though. Had to get Ryan Ginty's club mentioned, folks. So
does Ryan play rugby? Does Ryan play rugby?
Ryan does play rugby. I think he's off to play. I think he's playing right now. He's got his pickup truck here, folks. Ryan Ginty of Next Level Rugby, our director and producer. And in the back of his empty pickup truck, after the equipment has been loaded out, you see wet cleats, a muddy shirt, and some socks. So, yeah, he's still playing. In the meantime, we've got some playing going on right here as Cohane charges forward for the Endicott Gulls. There's Palmatier. James Riley. Jay Riley, I beg your pardon. Pass off the ground by Garrett Campion. Here's Palmatier, and suddenly Endicott looking like they're running downhill, but they turn it over again. A costly turnover, that time by Garrett Campion. And here's Duig. There is Owen Kennedy, who's been quiet for most of this second half. He just falls forward for about six feet. And it's kicked just shy of the try zone, knocked. Oh, that was a tough turnover. A great effort by Cutterback to create that turnover and a try by future Marine Tim Mara. Try time for Christendom. Unfortunate series there for the Gulls.
Yeah, it was a good kick by Adino. Put in behind the defense, moved the contest down towards the Endicott goal line. Unfortunately, their fullback couldn't tidy it up. Ball bounced loose, a little bit of a fracas, and it was all too easy on the left-hand side there, on the blind side, for that score from Mara.
Gents, just so you know, we don't have anything printed out for the next match.
Okay. I was testing it on the other court, and I'm going to switch to the court you just gave me.
And there's a conversion. It looks like it was good.
Back. Good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 43-17. I thought the conversion was good. Doesn't look like it was.
Come on, boys!
From my angle, there is Gashgilder charging forward. Gotta like the fact that Endicott keeps coming. There is Jeff Page, future Homeland Security guy. There's a nice little elbow and a hard charge by Hunter Routhey. Another one of that Kalispell, Glacier High School. And he named Jackson Thebes as his favorite MLR player, as did every single player in that line while Jackson Thebes was standing there. It's kind of funny, actually. Good sense of humor on the part of the Endicott Gulls. Palmatier takes it to turf, and it looks like it's turned over. That's big John Briggs. And McAvee in the middle of it. Nicely handled by Audino over to Cutterback, but it's knocked forward and taken, and the advantage is being played on the knock-on right now for Endicott. They just keep exchanging possession here.
Yeah, pretty scrappy rugby this last couple of minutes. To be expected, we're 60, 62, 63 minutes into this. Look at the body language. There's some tired bodies out there. When you're tired, that's when the skills go, the concentration goes, the focus goes.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
Very good.
All right, but charging right into the middle of that scrum to take to be the hooker is Will Arnold. He is certainly not lacking energy. Again, when I was talking to him before the game, I said, why hooker? He says, I like set pieces. It's an odd cat. It's perfect. Hookers are all odd cats. There's a look inside by Gashgilder.
I have suspicion of a forward pass there, but officials have let it go.
Gashgilder again.
Got to give this man credit. Got to give that man credit. He's having a terrific game.
Gashgilder, a basher of sorts. Take it to the turf. Is Cohane. Great camera work. Takes us right into the action. There's Ray setting Ray O'Reilly.
I ran another cable.
Jay Riley, I beg your pardon, setting the platform there. Another big run from Gash Gilder. Kohane. Zach Nadeau. Gash Gilder. Jay Riley. Some bruising defense from Owen Kennedy, clearing out bodies, but the Gulls maintained possession. Could have been forward pass there, but no. There's James Carew, who told me he was majoring in astrology until his friends flagged him for lying to me, Steve.
Making stuff up. Good run on the left wing here. Ooh, good hit at the end of it.
Farber gets waffled by Jacobison. And I know I've said that name 3 different ways. And there's a penalty to the Crusaders, Steve.
That is your prerogative.
Not trying to. Jakubison.
No, I'm not even having to go at it. You're on your own.
Jacobison. That's what we're going to go with. Apologize. John is out of St. Ignatius in Cleveland, and his older brother played. Sophomore poli-sci major. We know we got that right. There's the penalty to the Crusaders. Here's Odino. Doesn't find touch. And is a counterattack of sorts. Little indecisiveness on the part of Palmatier. Coming in to clean it up, James Carew. Blindside flanker playing scrum half. Here's a big charge from Chris Faust, the junior exercise science major. Kohane. And it's almost ripped out by Owen Kennedy, the freshman. Again, here's James Carew, the blind side. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got a lot of heart. Shaking off tacklers. Number 22, Brian Palmatier. Taken nicely again by Faust. And it's charged down. Nice play by the defense of the Crusaders. That was Jerome Norton, and here's a big run. That's the Glaswegian. Jacob Cassidy. Duig with a no-look pass out to Jerome Norton of Louisville. And there's a turnover, Steve.
Yep, yet another. Multiple turnovers in this game. What that speaks to is just, not taking care of the ball in contact. Not protecting the ball, not placing the ball correctly at rucks. We've seen a fair bit of that. And because of that, you tend to get a lot of turnovers.
And when you get engulfed by the likes of a large man like Tom Ward or Owen Kennedy, it certainly opens your eyes. There's Farber running without the ball. But it goes backwards, and it's maintained by Endicott. John Messing, number 16 for the Crusaders, getting in there, getting dirty. He's back up on his feet and again involved in the tackle. His motor hasn't stopped since he's come in off the bench. Farber trying to make something happen, and there's a whistle and a knock.
Well, it's a 26-point deficit, 12 minutes to go. Looks unlikely at this stage. That having been said, Endicott have come out. The Gulls have come out in the second half. They've shown fire. They've stuck in. They've competed. Scored a couple of tries of their own. And keep their heads held high as the subs start to come in for Christendom. The fresh legs showing up with 10-12 to go.
And again, this is a small college championship, but you can't get any smaller than Endicott than Christendom. We said 200.
That's my understanding.
That's amazing. Is that a Free Jacks hat, Steve?
I missed it.
Fan. I'm not sure. But we got a nice crowd. Got a beautiful night in the Capital Region here at Siena College. Hickey Field as the Endicott Gulls in the blue and green. Seattle Seawolves colors charge forward. The Crusaders out of Front Royal, Virginia, lead 43-17 with just about 12 minutes left in this match, but there is still some bashing going on there. You wouldn't know the score from watching these guys work both sides of the ball. See the determination on the faces of all these players. There's a little batted ball, and it's going to be a whistle. Scrum down awarded to the Gulls of Endicott. Who stood out for you so far in this match, Steve?
Well, Endicott, clearly number 8, Gash Gilder. He's put in a ton of work. He's led from the front, taking the ball on. He's looked good. Not quite a one-man band, you know. Palmatier and Cohen have had their moments too. Halfback. For Christendom, I think there's really contrasts in styles. You've had ball carrying and just sheer physical presence of Owen Kennedy. And then you've had some terrific pulling of the strings by the fly half, Odino.
All right, there was a turnover by Gash Gilder. We mentioned him, and the ball goes into the hands of the Crusaders. Limping back into position, it looks like might be dinged up a little bit. Was Gash Gilder on that one, holding the ankle. And it's turned over again. It just, there's been too many to count. It's not a wet ball.
Yeah, it's a wee bit ragged here as Endicott go back towards their own line. They're under a bit of pressure now.
And there's another whistle.
And so, you know, with the game, pretty much decided, you've got to start thinking, Christendom coaches, Conrad, Tony Flynn, what have you, they've got to start thinking ahead to Sunday.
Yeah.
And maybe you pull a couple of these players. Maybe you should be pulling Odino, pulling Kennedy. Get some legs on there, preserve them. Even though it's only 10 minutes, you never know what can happen. You get a knock, you get an injury in the last 10 when the game is in hand, and you regret it as a coach.
Yeah, he's got John Messing in there, number 16. You also have the Whitaker brothers, Anthony and John, available. A.J. Lancaster, Dan Corkery, Michael La Rochelle. So there's some players out there. You've had Nicodemus Kaufman was going to start at number 8, but he's injured. You also have Joe Peters, and there's a charge going forward. That was number 2. That was Spencer Vinton, number 2 that we were mentioning earlier. Gash Gilder holding the ball on the ground, having a few words for Jerome Norton of the Crusaders, and they weren't friendly words. As his teammates continue on with the ball. There's Jay Riley, and he's got to burst the speed. But he's got to turn and present that ball, or he's going to get flagged for it.
Correct.
And it's picked up by the Glaswegian Cassidy, Jacob Cassidy. Turned over, and got to get that ball out of there, Steve, if you're Jay Riley. Here's Kudaback in for the try.
Yep, that should be the nail in the coffin right there.
And the roar of the crowd and the stampede of the crowd in the stands. Some more great shots from our next level production crew. It's about 73 minutes gone by in this match. It's now 48-17 pending this conversion, a familiar sight that we've seen Duhigg trying to make some tough conversions. Here's one. He's all the way out on his own along the touch line, but here's the replay.
Yeah, another scrappy loose ball. Kudaback, he's had a good game too at fullback. He's been an elusive runner. Picks it up about 12, 13 yards out. Does what he has to do and finishes.
And he had a very similar finish to that billboard behind Duhigg. Nice stretch for the try. I'd like to see that in a young back. There's that play. It looks like it was a freeze frame of what.
As it says, play small college rugby.
National Small College Rugby Organization. And we are here for that. NSCRO is the acronym. And there's the conversion attempt, and it hits the post. and bounces back. So a good attempt, a hair off as it hit the post. 48-17 is our score. Matt McCarthy, Steve Lewis, and Brett Anker in this next level rugby production of the National Small Rugby College Organization, NSCRO. First match of a great weekend of rugby on the NSCRO YouTube channel or on the Next Level Rugby YouTube channel. There's the restart. Owen Kennedy hardly having to jump in the air to haul that one in with 6'9" frame. And there's Tim Mara, the future Marine, forging forward. Big hit, but the Crusaders hold on to the ball. Another big hit. It's getting a little chippy out there. Fighting back, storming back. Number 23, that's Nicodemus Kaufman, who we spoke about earlier, who was injured, but is now one of the substitutions coming in for Jim Conrad, Theo Smith, and Tony Flay. There's Dewey. There's try scorer and Dan Moore look-alike Kutabak. Oh, another big run. Oh, and here's a man possessed right there off the bench. Nicodemus Kaufman. And a whistle and a penalty earned by the Crusaders. When you've got a guy that was supposed to be your starting number 8 coming in late in this game, you know he's a player, specifically after we've seen the job done by the likes of Joe Kelly and those other back rowers for the Crusaders. Here's Owen Kennedy with a burst right up the middle and a dive. Number 4, Owen Kennedy. Just a freshman, folks, 6'9", out of Cooperstown, New York. Doesn't like baseball.
Was that a Hall of Fame allusion, or?
No, he's from Cooperstown, New York, and he doesn't like baseball. For those of you at home that don't know that the Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, I think most of the people listening to this broadcast would know that.
Where's the Rugby Hall of Fame? Any idea?
The Rugby Hall of Fame is in rugby.
Very good, very
Yes.
good.
And there is another replay of the man that should be on everybody's radar, a freshman, 6'9", athletic, and fierce when he has the ball in his hands and defensively. Dewey, deja vu, splits the uprights. And that gets us to 55-17 with about 77 minutes gone in this first match of the NSCRO National Championship, Steve.
Indeed. Well, the scoreline would suggest it's been pretty one-sided. I actually don't think it reflects on Endicott's fight and the amount of effort they put into this game. But they have coughed up some tries. And it will be Christendom moving on to the final on Sunday.
Yes,
Their
indeed.
opponents yet to be determined, the game after this.
There's another substitution made by the Crusaders. We'll try to get that for you in a second. There's a whistle. There's a nice shot of number 8, Matt Gashgilder, who's had a very good match. Got a great mustache as well. Want to point that out.
Gash the stash.
Gash the stash. Gash the stash can bash. We can go on all night with that, with the accolades for that man. But there's a kick. It did find touch. As our friend, the touch judge. Steve, man of the match for you. Tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. I mean, a losing effort. We've talked about Gashgilder a lot. He's been terrific. Kennedy, obviously, physical specimen, mentioned that. But I think it really has to go to, in terms of all-round control of the game, and then sparking and pulling the strings. We said before is Thomas Audino, number 10 for Christendom. He had a fantastic game before coming off about 10 minutes ago.
I agree. I just want to also say that I think that the guys up front, like John Briggs, and also number 7, Tim Mara, had good matches. But I'll concur with you, and we can say that for the two teams respectively, we've got Gashgilder and Audino as Farber counterattacks. The kick. as we get down to the final minutes of this match, or the final minute, Steve. The Gulls trying to get a try for pride, and they are not. They're not going to do it with a pass like that.
Yeah, they're in trouble again here.
Scrambling.
The whistle doesn't go. Could concede another.
James Carew scrambled. He maintained the possession, and there's number 1, Jeff Page. That defensive end crossover. Oh,
he's had a couple of good runs as well.
But did you see Kudebaker, the fullback, get over there and turn the ball over? He pilched that one. Meantime, now you got number 19, John Whitaker, in there with the blonde hair, almost platinum, white taped ears. There's Owen Kennedy just looking for more. He is just a man possessed. Look at all the bodies it takes to take that man down. I would do an Olay on him at this point if I was out there, Steve, to be honest with you.
The Matador.
Yeah.
As you were known in New York rugby circles.
No, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Career total of 3 tackles. Is that it?
When you score tries, you don't have to tackle anybody. There's Kudebaker. That's fellow try
that's
scoring.
In the coup de grace.
So hard work paying off for John Jacobson.
Indeed.
Or Jacobson. Or a couple of different versions of that, and I apologize, John, out of St. Ignatius in Cleveland. I'll get it right before the end of this tournament, I promise you. There's the replay. Kudebaker, who's also had a very strong match.
Yep, scrappy effort from him.
And doing a lot of work. I mean, when your team gets 60-plus points in a match, it's a lot of people that have played well.
Yeah, a couple of late tries have put us a little unfortunate gloss on the scoreline if you're an Endicott player or fan.
Here's Newig. Seems that the nose is dried up. He no longer has the tissue hanging out of it. And he drills another one, Steve.
No, I think it was wide right.
Oh, it looked good to me, Bob.
Wide right.
I sit corrected. But there's the final horn and the final whistle as the Crusaders of Christendom out of Front Royal, Virginia, top the Endicott, Massachusetts Gulls. 60-17. A big win for the small school in this National Small College Rugby Organization match, as they await the handshake. Impressive, Steve. Impressive school. Impressive team.
Yeah, that's good performance. Some good individual athletes there. Played well, took the chances, kept the pace up, and fully deserving of their win, obviously, with that scoreline. They'll be looking forward to Sunday now in the National Championship final. So back to the hotel, hydrate, get off the legs, take it easy tomorrow, and prepare for the big one on Sunday.
Question for you. Anybody in this match today on a radar if you're an MLR exec?
Yeah, I think you'd have to look at the size of Kennedy, obviously. I mean, big men don't come along often that size. A couple of other good footballers there, but it's a difficult one to judge. Anytime you look and you want to look at players 3, 4, 5 multiple times before you start talking them up.
So he's a freshman. So what would a potential pathway be for him? Eagles?
Oh, that's the pinnacle, right? That's the aspirational part.
Is it? Well, one could say that the MLR is the pinnacle now. That was a great shot of the victory circle for.
Well, I mean, I think the ultimate is always representing your country, right? Whether it's Olympics in 7s, or whether it's a World Cup in 15s, or just pulling on the red, white, and blue. That's what every aspiring young American player wants.
Team prayer / cheer. All right, folks, we are going to go down to Brett Anker, our anchor on the pitch right now.
Thanks, Matt. I'm actually here with Games MVP Thomas Adino. So, how do you think your team fared today in your first game out in a while?
I think we played really well. We could have made things a lot easier for ourselves. But I think in general, we fought hard. They fought hard too, but we came out on top, and we're really proud about that.
Right. So tell me about your preparation. You clinch a spot in national final in the fall with our seasonality issues, and you don't play a competitive game for 4 or 5 months. How do you mentally and physically prepare for a national championship that far out?
We're really lucky to have a team full of leaders, and leadership comes from the top down. Our coaches stay on top of us, and then captains, and then senior players, and it really goes all the way down. And everyone's really dedicated. Everyone's giving 100%, and you really see it in the off season, in the winter. People are still getting out to practice 5 days a week and really working their tails off, and it pays off, as you can see.
So I understand a couple of you guys are the epitome of student athletes here. You have one student who had an exam today come up and arrive just during game time. You yourself came back from Rome for this game. So tell me about your commitment to the program and why it was so important for you to come back for this match.
Yeah, I mean, when you really work as hard as our whole team works, it's like something you wouldn't miss. So being in Rome, it's not really tough to make the decision to fly back for it, or it's not tough to make the decision to take a 7-hour trip today for a game. When you've worked that hard for something, it's not hard it's easy.
My final question for you: you've got one game left before you say you're a national championship. How do you prepare to play 2 games in a span of 3 days?
Recovery, and it's going to start tonight. As soon as this game's over, we're already looking forward to Sunday and keeping our focus. We're proud that we won, and we're happy about that, but we have to stay focused for Sunday and really keep our mental preparation.
Thanks, and good luck.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, back to you.
All right. And, it's always nice when you fly back from Rome when you're in college for a college rugby national championship. I remember those days of flying back. No, I don't remember any of those days. University of Buffalo,
You never in a championship.
Oh, yes, we did. It was the upstates back then, my friend. All right, we're going back to Brett Anker on the field. Hold the horse, hold your phone, folks. Don't go away. Go ahead, Brett.
Thanks, Matt, again. I'm here with Brian Palmentier, captain of Endicott College Rugby. I know it wasn't exactly the result you were looking for, but how do you feel about how you guys played? You had that never say die, never quit attitude out there.
Yeah, definitely a tough team. Christendom played a hell of a game, and just proud of the boys for playing all 80 minutes, playing tough, the whole team.
Now, I was speaking with your coach prior to the game, and he mentioned that you have a number of young players on your squad. How does a game like this on a national circuit prepare you guys as you move forward?
Just getting them experience and getting them ready for going forward next year. We've got, I think, 7 or 8 freshmen, a couple of great sophomores on the team that have stepped up as leaders this year, and a great recruiting class coming in. So just getting the experience.
So my last question for you is, you still have another game on Sunday. How do you mentally prepare to play for a game after you've given all of your emotions for this when you're playing for 3rd place? What's on the line for you and your team?
Just playing with pride and playing 80 minutes for the people next to you. It might not be for a national championship, but you're playing for your boys, and you're going out there and still putting out 80 minutes of your best rugby.
That's great. Thank you for your time, and good luck this Sunday. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brett. As we await our next match here in the booth, Steve Lewis, we've got a busy weekend of rugby ahead of us. All right, and I'm sorry, Stephen, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. We're going to get back to you we are out, ladies and gentlemen. Tune back in for our next match.